So you might be wondering, Mr. Wellman, why are you down so low? You're kind of tall, it should be higher. Well, I had to zoom in the frame. But the real reason is I'm trying to illustrate the point that once you've decided that you're going to measure a liquid with a graduated cylinder, you have to be sure you know how to do it the correct way. For instance, the biggest deal or the measurement errors that people make usually with the graduated cylinders, they're trying to do it up here. And they said, oh, I can read it. But in actuality, you have to understand how the graduated cylinder is designed. You see, when water goes into a glass item, it forms something called a meniscus. It's kind of like this illustration here. You see how it's got that curve to it? And you see the water is actually being adhering, or it's being attracted to the glass on the side. And so that creates a surface tension here along this curve. And in so doing, it has kind of an irregular shape at the bottom. Now, in order to be consistent, we've agreed upon that we're always going to measure from the bottom of the meniscus, the bottom of that curve. So to be very precise, it's a good idea to do a technique of getting at eye level with the level of the particular liquid. So for instance, let's start down at this one, the small one. Okay, in this one, I don't know if you can barely see it, but the liquid's down here. Now, in order to be an accurate measurer, I have to get down at eye level, so I'm at eye level with the liquid. But then, here's a little trick. If you take a piece of paper and you have a dark line behind it, it really helps to see where the bottom of the meniscus is. So I'm going to get down at eye level, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to position the liquid so I can see the little lines. They're directly in front of me. And then I'm going to move down to where at the bottom of the liquid I can just see one line. There's actually a line on the other side of the glass, but I'll know that I'm at the right level if I get down there and I only see one. Then I'm going to move this piece of paper up closer that has the little black lines. I'm going to move it in right behind it so I can see. So then I can really see, oh yeah, that one there looks like it's 6.13 milliliters. Now remember, I can do that because the smallest increment on the 10 milliliter one is to the 10th of a milliliter. That way I can estimate one more place, or to a 10th of the smallest increment. That would be 6.13 milliliters. Okay? Now you really need this little key. It helps tremendously to get the right measurements. So now let's say if I'm going to the next one, the bigger one. Now in this case, I'm going to do the same thing, and this one is designed, now just be careful, there are actually two measuring units on this one. You see, sometimes you want to pour some out and measure it, and sometimes you're just saying, hey, how much is in there total? So be careful. It can be read both ways, so be sure that, for instance, this one should be on the smaller side because it's coming up from the bottom. So I'm going to read the one that says around the 40, not the 60, because 60 would have been coming from the top down, but we're going to go from the bottom up. Just make sure you note that. It's a good idea to take a picture of it too, if you forget, like, ooh, did I accidentally measure the wrong side? So just a little hint there for you. So in this case, again, same idea. I'm going to get down at eye level. I'm going to move my little black line in back so I can line it up. Oh, I only see one line. Then I've got the black line behind it, and this one looks to me like it's going to be 41.7. Now wait a second. Why didn't I go 41.7 something? Again, always look at your increments. The smallest line in this one represents 1 milliliter. So I can estimate a tenth of that increment, so I can estimate to the 10th spot. So again, line it up, get down eye level, double check. Yep, sure enough, should be 41.7 milliliters. Remember, that last digit is an estimate, so even if you come back one or two times, you might vary a little bit in that last position. That's okay though, because it's a measurement, and there's always going to be human error. Now, I expect to see, when you're measuring in lab, I should see you down at eye level. If I don't, I might be prone to come up behind you and go, I don't think that's the right measure. You need to measure that one again. So again, be sure you're helping your teammates out. When you're measuring with a graduate cylinder, you got to get low. How low do you go? To eye level to that liquid. Make sure you're measuring correctly and be safe, but have fun in lab too.